Hello everybody, it's your boy Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming, here today with your favorite game is niche. So what? And I've been thinking lately that a lot of my favorite games fall into rather niche series, Nier, Xenoblade, Journey, etc. And is it good for a game to go mainstream? Are there negatives? Well, I think with most things, that there's a mix of both. Maybe your niche community blows up in popularity and a bunch of people come in and get to experience it for the first time. And maybe a large number of people come into that community and fundamentally change the atmosphere of it from what it was before. Is that a bad thing? Well, it could be. Some discussions or groups can become hyper-polarized, and nuanced discussions amongst people who rallied together around the collective love for a niche series or title can be inundated with mainstream, my thing is better than your thing discussions where that sense of familiarity you had before might be lost forever. As the community fundamentally alters, more negativity might be entering a scene, whereas it had been primarily positive beforehand, just because it was a small group of you banded together around your collective love for this one thing. Some people might even say that the thing you love is crap, or not worthy of all the hype, that their thing deserves the hype instead. Sure, you heard that one. But honestly, like a lot of other things, I'd prefer to look at the good. More people become exposed to the things you loved so much, more people might have been impacted by that story or game, just like you were. Imagine being able to experience your favorite game like Xenoblade 2, Nier Automata, or Journey, or whatever your first game is, or your favorite game. Halo, Halo 3, maybe Modern Warfare 2. Any of these games. Anything that you love, FTL, if that's a throwback. Any game that you consider to be your favorite, imagine being able to play it for the first time all over again. And know that people all over the world probably playing their new favorite game, and experiencing their new favorite story. Honestly, it puts a smile on my face. Knowing that someone who may have really needed a good game at that particular moment might be getting exactly what they need. Look, there's many reasons a game might get mainstream success or not. Maybe it's tied to its popularity, maybe it came out at the right time, maybe a lot of big streamers or YouTubers or content creators are making content about that game. And there's many reasons that a game might truly resonate with someone. It's hard to predict, honestly. It's hard to tell until someone experiences it, sits down and boots the game up for the first time. Maybe it takes a session or two. Maybe they come back to it after a time. Maybe they come back to it years later, equipped with all that new life experience to alter their perception of that game. That was me with Ocarina of Time. I tried it as a kid. There was no waypoints. Just didn't click for me. Wasn't a game that I liked at that particular time. I came back to it years later, late adolescence, early adulthood, and I fell in love with that game. Maybe they come back to it years later and fall in love with it, just like I did. And maybe that game tells them something or gives them perspective in their own life that really helps them. Or it's just a fun time or just an engaging time. Maybe it elicits an emotion that they didn't know they really needed to just get out of their system at that time. There's a lot of talk in a community whenever it's undergoing the mainstreamification, if you will, about whether or not the game will get worse or not because of its newfound success. Recently, I went through something like that myself with Final Fantasy XIV and how that game received a whole bunch of new players not too long ago. Community was pretty tight-knit, and generally pretty positive. People feared that the popularity that they came to know and love with that game would fade away and be drowned out in the vastness of its new player base. And sure, I understood those concerns. Same concerns could be raised with a series near and dear to my heart, Xenoblade Chronicles. It's not Xenoblade, it's not Nintendo's most popular series ever or anything. It doesn't come close to the mainstream success of, say, Legend of Zelda or Mario. Look, it doesn't have Chris Pratt as a lead voice actor, I mean, come on. But to me, it's my favorite. Those stories gave me perspective. I fell in love with those worlds and those characters, and they taught me a bunch of really, truly, honestly, compelling lessons. That's the power of an interactive medium like video games. It can grip you in and make you feel like you're a part of its world and its grand story as it all plays out before you, and you get to take center stage amidst it all. Like a grand, wonderful play, and you fulfill your role. You play your part. Sometimes you're able to make your own choices, affect the outcome of however you want it to. Maybe like BioShock or Fallout New Vegas. Maybe you just get a giant big sandbox where you can really just put your entire imagination on full display like Minecraft or Terraria or any of those survival games. Hell, a lot of my recent success has come from talking about Xenoblade Chronicles, and why I love the series as much as I do. And if you asked me whether or not I want Xenoblade to go mainstream or any of the other favorite series I have to go mainstream, I'd say yes, absolutely. I wouldn't even need to think about it that much, because I've been thinking about it, honestly. Because sure, I understand the concerns about a game and its community breaking into that new, wider market, but the idea that I'd rather not have more people become exposed to my favorite games of all time, that helped me so much, that got me through some rough patches, I think that would be selfish. Hell, let's be honest. If it wasn't for Nier going semi-mainstream with Nier Automata, I probably would have never even played it. And lo and behold, it became my new favorite game of all time. Let's go with a game that's mega mainstream, Skyrim. Game's on pretty much everything. I think it's even on smart fridges at this point. But honestly, I love the game. And I love its world. I remember staying up at night exploring that vast world, playing for hours on end, talking about it with my boys, doing the Assassin's Brotherhood and Thieves Guild quest chains, becoming a part of the Mage Guild, choosing whether to fight for Skyrim or the Empire. The game definitely impacted me, and I'm glad that many others got the chance to play a game that I love, even if it's being constantly ported, and if all those ports have become a meme at this point. But unironically, I think that's a good thing. Game preservation matters, and games going to as many platforms as possible matters to me, because it makes it possible for many to be able to play the game in the first place. And whenever I see those occasional stories of people falling in love with something like Skyrim, or Xenoblade, or Final Fantasy, I'm just glad that those games got as popular as they did, flaws and all, because it helped a lot of people. Same thing with Final Fantasy XIV, and same thing with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. When Xenoblade 3 came out, I had been anticipating that game since its, announcement. I loved Xenoblade 2. It was one of my favorite games when I first played it. Fell in love with Xenoblade Chronicles 1 when I played it as well. Even if it took me a little bit for that one. Beat Xenoblade Chronicles X, but I fell in love with that world, and I still thought of Primordia from time to time, and how wonderful it was to explore that world, scale and all. One of my favorite things when Xenoblade 3 came out was just watching people become exposed to the series for the first time. Watching them go back to previous games and falling in love with them as well. Knowing someone just found their new favorite series, fell in love with my favorite series as well. That matters. That's what video games are all about, I think. Being able to engage with something for yourself, run around its world, that sense of community you get in a multiplayer game, or watching people scavenge all of Elden Ring, looking for secrets to share with everyone, and then watching those same people that watch those videos go there themselves and learn something else, and then spread that around themselves, and the cycle continues. I think at the end of the day, games are cool, and more people getting to play and be exposed to games is even cooler. Because even if there's some negativities that go alongside it, even if some people try and spoil the fun, those people becoming exposed to those stories for the first time, those games, finding new friends, making new experiences, falling in love with a game and its story for a whole first time again. Yeah, I think I value that way more than I do a few toxic people on Twitter or Reddit. So thank you all for tuning in. Leave a comment down below with, have you ever had a game that you love that was kind of a niche audience that went mainstream? Talk to me about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your perspective. Or have you ever played a game that just broke out of the mainstream and you became exposed to it because of that? And then you went back to play all the other games and you fell in love with the series at large? Let me know as well. I'd love to hear your stories, hear your thoughts, and read your perspectives. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe out there. Sorry about that. Lost my voice for a hot second. Stay safe out there, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye, everybody.